Hey guys, it's LiQWYD, and today I am going to be doing my 2024 updated bookshelf tour. So this is, I think, my fourth bookshelf tour. I did one at the very start of my channel, then I did one in 2021 when I got some bookshelves in this room and decided to separate my read and unread books, and I also did one last year when I added a smaller bookshelf over here that houses now it has my Cassandra Clare collection. And then for my birthday in June, I actually got another bookcase, which is right here now. And so I thought it was high time to do another bookshelf tour. And this one's going to be a little bit different than the other ones I've done. I'm not going to go through every single shelf in both this room and my bedroom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the shelves in here, and then I'm going to go through my unread shelf in my room, and then I will kind of just take you through, like, at a glance, some of the other shelves, because those really have not changed. So I'm really focusing today on the ones that are substantially different. So that one, the one over here, my Cassandra Clare collection, which is right there, and then my taller unread bookshelf that's next to my bed. I'll still show like my classics shelf, my middle grade books, my ARCs and stuff, but I'm just not going to go through every single book because those shelves have changed either very minimally or not at all from last year. So you can refer to my other bookshelf tour from 2023. But I thought that I would just do a little bit of an intro to this bookshelf tour. I'm going to have chapter stamps in the description box below so you can skip to a certain bookshelf if you wish. So without any further ado, let's just jump right in to my 2024 bookshelf tour. So, starting off with the first shelf on this first bookcase, I have my Marissa and Leigh Bardugo shelf. This pin usually sits on top of the Kingdom of Back, and I got this in the Owl Crate box that book came in. This reflects the cover of the book, where it shows the upside-down trees from the Kingdom of Back, the worlds that the characters explore, and the trees have their roots, or have their leaves in the ground and their roots springing up into the air. Then I have this candle called Goblin Glove, and it smells like winterberries, peach, yuzu, pear, and fresh air. Then next to Sky Hunter, I do have these 4 character cards, which show some of the different, protagonists and side characters from that duology. Then I also have this art print that is inspired by The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, and I also have this wood carving that I like to put next to the Grisha trilogy. I don't know if it's actually inspired by that, but the quote on it says, "Imagine and it shall be, there are no limits." As for the books, I have Legend by Marissa, The Young Elites, The Rose Society and the Midnight Star by Marissa, The Kingdom of Back by Marissa, Stars and Smoke by Marissa, Sky Hunter and Steel Striker by Marissa, Warcross and Wildcard by Marissa, Ninth House and Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, Wonder Woman Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo, The Language of Thorns, Midnight Tales and Dangerous Magic by Leigh Bardugo, The Lives of Saints by Leigh Bardugo, the Illumicrate exclusive edition of The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, Demon in the Wood by Leigh Bardugo, Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, And finally for this shelf, King of Scars and Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. Next, I have a sort of miscellaneous series shelf. I kind of just paired these series based on their covers, to be honest, because I thought they looked really good together. But I only have one item on this shelf, and it is this mug that says, "Even in the future, the story begins with Once Upon a Time." I'm pretty sure this mug actually goes with the Lunar Chronicles series, but I already have a lot of trinkets on that shelf, and I thought it looked nice on top of the Truly Devious series. Starting off, I have Carry On, Wayward Son, and Any Way the Wind Blows by Rainbow Rowell, The Inheritance Games, The Hawthorne Legacy, and The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, Truly Devious, The Vanishing Stair, The Hand on the Wall, The Box in the Woods, and 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson, Her Radiant Curse, 6 Crimson Cranes, and The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim, Song of Silver, Flame Like Night, and Dark Star Burning, Ash Falls White by Amelie Wen Zhao, and lastly, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, P.S. I Still Love You, and Always and Forever Lara Jean by Jenny Han. Next, I have my Sarah J. Maas shelf. This is one item that I have, and it says, "Remember that you are a wolf and you cannot be caged." I believe this is actually from one of Sarah J. Maas's books, but I need to find a way to display it because right now it's just sitting flat on top of the books, but one of these days I will find a way to, showcase it. Then I also have this pin, which is an owl with different phases of the moon, and then I have that Van Gogh inspired spinny globe situation. As for the books, I have The Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, and Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, House of Earth and Blood, and House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas, and lastly, A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Wings and Ruin, A Court of Frost and Starlight, and A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Next, I have just another miscellaneous series shelf. I have this candle called Mors Navis on top of the Raven Cycle series, and it says it smells like Bale Blossom, Sisterhood, and the Sea. And then I have this candle called Tomorrow's Sunset, which is inspired by the Wrath and the Dawn duology. As for the books, I have The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay, and The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, The Raven Boys, The Dream Thieves, Blue Lily, Lily Blue, and The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater, The Wrath and the Dawn and The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Ahdieh, The Beautiful, The Damned, The Righteous, and The Ruined by Renee Ahdieh, and Flame in the Mist and Smoke in the Sun by Renee Ahdieh. Okay, sorry for the really up-close and personal view of this shelf, but this was kind of the only place I could put the camera because there's actually a nightstand right behind it right now. The only item that I have on this shelf is that Owl Crate exclusive wax seal kit, but for the books I have Red Queen, Glass Sword, King's Cage, Warstorm, and Broken Throne by Victoria Aveyard, Realmbreaker, Bladebreaker, and Fatebreaker by Victoria Aveyard, Ace of Shades and King of Fools by Amanda Foody, the UK edition of Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, and lastly just the US regular hardcover editions of Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. Okay, once again, I apologize for the angle, but this is the final shelf on this bookcase. I also forgot to mention the last shelf was just like another miscellaneous series shelf, and this one is as well, because I clearly own a lot of series. This is the only item that I have on this shelf, and it is a Spireside Candles situation thing that is inspired by Hansel and Gretel. First up, I have Truth Witch, Wind Witch, Sight Witch, Blood Witch, and Witch Shadow by Susan Dennard, Zenith and Nexus by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings, The City of Brass, The Kingdom of Copper, and The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty, The Diviners, Lair of Dreams, and Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray, We Hunt the Flame, and We Free the Stars by Hafsa Faizal, and finally, Shadow of the Fox, Soul of the Sword, and Night of the Dragon by Julie Kagawa. Okay, this is also not the best angle because this shelf is very high up, but it is the first shelf of my next bookcase, and this is my Tahereh Mafi shelf. I have a couple of items on this shelf, and the first is this Juliet candle, which is inspired by the Shatter Me series, and it smells like lemon, lavender, and amber. And then I also have that art print on the top, which is inspired by the Woven Kingdom series. As for the books, I have the US hardcover editions of This Woven Kingdom, These Infinite Threads, and All This Twisted Glory by Tahereh Mafi. Then I also have the Illumicrate special editions of This Woven Kingdom, These Infinite Threads, and All This Twisted Glory by Tahereh Mafi. I have the UK Waterstones exclusive editions of Shatter Me and Unravel Me by Tahereh Mafi. Then I have the US hardcover editions of Shatter Me, Unravel Me, Ignite Me, Restore Me, Defy Me, Imagine Me, and Believe Me by Tahereh Mafi. Then I have Furthermore and Witchwood by Tahereh Mafi, A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahereh Mafi, An Emotion of Great Delight by Tahereh Mafi, the Shatter Me paperback by Tahereh Mafi, and my advanced reader copy of A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahereh Mafi. Next, I have a sort of fantasy romance series shelf. Starting off with the items, I have this shower thing. I think it's a shower steamer, is what it says right on there. And it's called Gambler's Ruin, and I don't know, I thought it fit with the sort of Caraval theme. I'm pretty sure it's actually for the Ace of Shades series, so I probably should put it there, and I'm actually going to do that right now. Then I also have this pin, which is inspired by the Where Dreams Descend series, but I don't actually have that book anymore, so I just put it with the Caraval series. Then I have the Dreaming Tree candle, which is my favorite candle of all time. It smells like harvest apple and night, and it literally is the most amazing thing ever. I will probably never burn it because I never want to finish it, because it was in an exclusive box from Whimsify, which isn't even a company that exists anymore. So it's one of a kind, and I definitely want to treasure it. Then I have this tiny little pin which says, when in doubt, go to the library. Then I have another wood carving. This one is just a stack of books that says, love is everything, everything. This is obviously inspired by Everything, Everything, but I wanted to put it here since this is my Romantasy shelf, and I just thought it looked really nice. Starting off with the books, I have the Caraval exclusive edition, which is such a beautiful special edition. This is actually one of the books that I will bring out since it's not already facing out, and it's just so beautiful. This is the front. It's actually a slipcase, so the book is there, and then this is the back. And I actually think it looks really nice turned out like that, so I'm going to keep it that way. But I also have Caraval, Legendary, and Finale by Stephanie Garber. The UK editions of Once Upon a Broken Heart, The Ballad of Never After, and A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. A Curse So Dark and Lonely, A Heart So Fierce and Broken, and A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer. Forging Silver into Stars by Bridget Kemmerer. Defy the Night and Defend the Dawn by Bridget Kemmerer. I just finished Destroy the Day, so that will be added to the shelf very soon. Belladonna and Foxglove by Adeline Grace. A River Enchanted and A Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross. And Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Next I have just another fantasy series shelf. And the one item that I have on the shelf is this pin that says Wolves Were Everywhere, which is obviously inspired by the Gilded Wolves series. And as for the books, I have The Gilded Wolves, The Silvered Serpents, and The Bronzed Beasts by Roshni Chokshi, The Star-Touched Queen by Roshni Chokshi, Aru Shah and the End of Time, Aru Shah and the Song of Death, Aru Shah and the Tree of Wishes, Aru Shah and the City of Gold, and Aru Shah and the Nectar of Immortality by Roshni Chokshi, The Priory of the Orange Tree and A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon, Children of Blood and Bone, Children of Virtue and Vengeance, and Children of Anguish and Anarchy by Tomi Adeyemi, and lastly, An Ember in the Ashes, A Torch Against the Night, A Reaper at the Gates, and A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. Next, I have what is pretty much just my Marissa Meyer shelf, plus the Imperium trilogy. And as I said before, I do have quite a few items on this shelf, the first being this pin, which is inspired by the Renegades trilogy, which says Every Hero Needs a Villain, another pin which says Oh My Stars, which is inspired by the Lunar Chronicles, and another pin which is inspired by Heartless, and it says Martyr, Monarch, Murderer, and Mad. Then I have this candle, which is inspired by the Lunar Chronicles, and it's called the Lunar Queen, and it smells like blackberries, vanilla, and fresh greenery. And I also have this really cool envelope that the publisher sent me when Gilded was coming out. It has a really cool wax seal on it, and then when you open it, there is this thing inside, which is an invitation to a virtual event with Marissa Meyer. As for the books, I have Renegades, Arch Enemies, and Supernova by Marissa Meyer, Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer, Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, Winter, Stars Above, and Fairest by Marissa Meyer, Gilded and Cursed by Marissa Meyer, Heartless by Marissa Meyer, and Furyborn, Kingsbane, and Lightbringer by Claire Legrand. Then I have, you guessed it, another fantasy series shelf. I also have 2 items on this shelf, which are both inspired by the novels of Elfhame by Holly Black. The first being this mug, which says, "If I can't find a good enough story, I make one," and it has this cool design on the front. And then when you turn it around, it has an acorn on the back with some mushrooms and other nature situations. And then there's also this book tin. I don't have anything in it, but I've had it for years, so I probably should store something inside, like something fun. But it has 3 different quotes from Holly Black. The first says, "I like for things to happen, stories to unfold, and if I can't find good enough story, I make one." Pretty much the same quote as the one on the mug, just a little bit longer. Then on the inside it says, "Sharpen your blade, harden your heart," and it has space for like some stuff, which I'm definitely, now that I'm like looking at it, it actually is pretty cool and I will probably put something inside. And then on the back it says, "I am a mere mortal and you are a prince of fairies. You have much to lose and I have nothing." Starting off with the books, I have Beasts of Prey, Beasts of Ruin, and Beasts of War by Ayanna Gray. Before She Ignites, As She Ascends, and When She Reigns by Jody Meadows. 3 Dark Crowns, 1 Dark Throne, 2 Dark Reigns, and 5 Dark Fates by Kendara Blake. The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, The Queen of Nothing, and How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black. And The Stolen Heir and the Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black. Then the last shelf on this second bookcase is yet another series shelf, though it's not just fantasy series this time. The first item that I have on this shelf is this pouch which says, "A dreamer is one who can only find his way by moonlight," and inside there's like the different phases of the moon and stuff. Now that I'm thinking about this, it might be part of the Strange the Dreamer series, but I'll probably keep it here anyway because I like the way it looks with that stack in the middle. And then I also have this Hinterland, like soy candle thing. I still don't know what it is, but apparently it smells like oak moss, fern, and ozone. First up, I have Every Heart a Doorway, Down Among the Sticks and Bones, Beneath the Sugar Sky, and In an Absent Dream by Seanan McGuire. The Agathas and the Night in Question by Kathleen Glasgow and Liz Lawson. My Lady Jane and My Plain Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. And I Darken and Now I Rise by Kirsten White. Spin the Dawn and Unravel the Dusk by Elizabeth Lim. The Bear and the Nightingale, The Girl in the Tower, and The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. Scythe, Thunderhead, and The Toll by Neil Shusterman. And lastly, The Hazelwood and The Night Country by Melissa Albert. Okay, we have another weird angle because we are moving on to my third bookcase, and this first shelf is my Alexandra Bracken and V.E. Schwab shelf. So as for the items, I do have that hourglass, which is like an antique, and I decided to put it near the Passenger series since that is a time travel series. And then I do have this pin. I'm not sure what it's from, but I thought it looked good on this shelf. I have this Malachi candle, which is inspired by the Monsters of Verity duology. And then I have that little notebook which says Caution Vitari inside, which is inspired by the Shades of Magic series. As for the books, I have Passenger and Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken, The Darkest Minds, Never Fade, In the Afterlight, and Through the Dark by Alexandra Bracken, Lore by Alexandra Bracken, Silver in the Bone and the Mirror's Beasts by Alexandra Bracken, The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding and the Last Life of Prince Alistair by Alexandra Bracken, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, Gallant by V.E. Schwab, A Darker Shade of Magic, A Gathering of Shadows, and A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab, City of Ghosts and Tunnel of Bones by V.E. Schwab, Vicious and Vengeful by V.E. Schwab, This Savage Song, An Hour Dark Duet by V.E. Schwab, and The Archived and the Unbound by V.E. Schwab. Okay, so the next shelf on this third bookcase is kind of just like a series runoff shelf and also where I keep my Agatha Christie collection. First up, I have American Royals, Majesty, and Rivals by Catherine McGee, Prince Charming and Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins, The Name of the Star, The Madness Underneath, and The Shadow Cabinet by Maureen Johnson, 13 Little Blue Envelopes and The Last Little Blue Envelope by Maureen Johnson, Sex and Vanity by Kevin Kwan, Crazy Rich Asians, China Rich Girlfriend, and Rich People Problems by Kevin Kwan, The Man in the Brown Suit, Murder on the Orient Express, Crooked House, The Murder on the Links, 450 from Paddington, Toward Zero, A Pocket Full of Rye, Hercule Poirot's Christmas, Death in the Clouds, Midwinter Murder, The Moving Finger, Death on the Nile, The Last Seance and Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. And lastly, Death on Windmill Way, Death on Lily Pond Lane, and Death on West End Road by Carrie Doyle. Next, I have my romance and Taylor Jenkins Reid books. So first up, I have The Friend Zone, The Happy Ever After playlist, Yours Truly, Life's Too Short and Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, People We Meet on Vacation, Happy Place and Book Lovers by Emily Henry, The Honey Don't List, In a Holidays, The Unhoneymooners, My Favorite Half-Night Stand, Roomies, Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, and The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren, The Wedding Date and While We Were Dating by Jasmine Guillory, The Bromance Book Club by Lyssa Kay Adams, Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, One Day in December by Josie Silver, Always in December by Emily Stone, and Daisy Jones and the Six, Carrie Soto Is Back, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Next, I have my contemporary or realistic fiction shelf. So first up, I have On the Come Up and The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, 7 Days of Us by Francesca Hornack, Sweet Scarlet by Maureen Johnson, Comfort and Joy by Kristen Hanna, The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan, Far from the Tree by Robin Benway, With You All the Way by Cynthia Hand, Yellowface by R.F. Kwong, Kill All Happies by Rachel Kahn, The Unexpected Everything and Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, The How and the Why by Cynthia Hand, Again But Better by Christine Riccio, Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle, Whiteout by Danielle Clayton, Tiffany D. Jackson, Nick Stone, Angie Thomas, Nicola Yoon, and Ashley Woodfolk, You've Reached Sam by Dustin Tao, Ramona Blue by Julie Murphy, Made You Up by Francesca Zappia, We're Okay by Nina LaCour, Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon, Snowball's Christmas by Kristen McCanna, and Heroine by Mindy McGinnis. Next, I have a fantasy shelf, and these are a lot of standalone fantasy books, or fantasy books where I only have one book in the series so far, but just let's jump into the books. First up, I have The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, The Ivory Key by Akshaya Rahman, Castles in Their Bones by Laura Sebastian, Graceling by Kristen Cashore, Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson, What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez, A Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin, Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth, Ink and Bone by Rachel Kane, The Devouring Grey by C.L. Herman, Legendborn by Tracy Dion, Because You Love to Hate Me by various authors, The Bells by Danielle Clayton, Illusions of Fate by Kirsten White, Babel by R.F. Kwong, The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, and Night of Cake and Puppets by Laini Taylor and illustrated by Jim DeBartolo. And then the final shelf on this third bookcase is my historical fiction and mystery shelf. First up, I have The Nightingale, Winter Garden, and The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna, Three Sisters, Three Queens, The Other Queen, and The Constant Princess by Philippa Gregory, Out of the Easy, Between Shades of Grey, and Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, The Stationery Shop by Marjan Kamali, Hidden Sea by Gregory Maguire, Lovely War by Julie Berry, The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White, An Eagle in the Snow by Michael Morpurgo, The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn, One by One by Ruth Ware, The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell, The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Marie Benedict, Murder for Christmas by Frances Duncan, Death by Eggnog by Alex Erickson, and British Manor Murder by Leslie Meyer. Okay, and for the final bookcase, this is my mini bookcase dedicated to my Cassandra Clare collection, and on the top I just have a lot of runoff books. So I have the paperback edition of City of Bones, the first Cassandra Clare book I ever bought, which was Lady Midnight. I do have 2 copies, I don't even know why, but this is one of them. The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan, and Maureen Johnson, Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan, Maureen Johnson, and Robin Wasserman, Ghosts of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan, Maureen Johnson, Kelly Link, and Robin Wasserman, The Shadowhunters Codex by Cassandra Clare and Joshua Lewis, and An Illustrated History of Notable Shadowhunters and Denizens of Downworld by Cassandra Clare and illustrated by Cassandra Jean. This next shelf is dedicated to the Infernal Devices and Last Hours series, and the only item that I have on the shelf is the Three Sisters Apothecary bar soap over there. As for the books, I have Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, the 10th anniversary edition of Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, and Chain of Gold, Chain of Iron, and Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare. This second shelf has my Mortal Instruments and Eldest Curses books, so I have City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, and in the middle of those books, I have the 10th anniversary edition of City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, and then I also have The Red Scrolls of Magic and The Lost Book of the White by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. And then this final shelf on this mini bookcase contains the Dark Artifices series, so I have Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, and Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. So that is it for the 3.5 bookcases up here. So now let's travel downstairs to my bedroom where we will see my unread books in depth and take a little bit of a tour through some of the other shelves that I have there, like my classics, ARCs, middle grade, and some favorite childhood series. First, before I get into my other shelves down here, I did just want to show the top of my TBR cart. Usually this cart would have more books on it, like in the other shelves and stuff, of books that I want to read and stuff, but I reserved the top shelf for books that I've read in the month so that I can just easily access them when I film my wrap-ups. So these are the 4 books that I read so far in August. I have Bloodmarked by Tracy Dion, Murder in Mesopotamia by Agatha Christie, Destroy the Day by Bridget Kemmerer, and Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. On this very top shelf, I have some nonfiction books, but this shelf hasn't changed at all since my last bookshelf tour, so I'll just do a little bit of an overview here. This next shelf here has changed a little bit. This is my, short hardcover shelf, basically. I don't organize my unread shelf the same way that I do my read books. I do have them somewhat categorized by genre, but sometimes, with this shelf and the lower shelf, they're just by, the kind of format and size of the book. I do have many trinkets on this shelf, the first one being this little angel statue that I keep on here. And then I also have this candle which says, "You're only given one little spark of madness, you mustn't lose it," which is a quote from Robin Williams. Then I have this, which I got in a subscription box, and I believe this is actually what you put those, soy wax squares in. Then I have this Lady of Casterly Rock candle, which I should probably move upstairs to the Game of Thrones book, but maybe I'll move it there when I continue on with the rest of the series. I have this winter spruce candle, then I have this other candle, and then I have that cardinal stuffed animal and that tiny dog statue. These shelves are definitely a little bit more decorated just because I didn't move a lot of stuff from my room upstairs when I got those shelves a few years ago, so that's why these are a little more spruced up, and also I spend more time in this room, obviously. Getting to the books, though, I have Black Enough by various authors, Hamilton and Peggy by L.M. Eliot, The Deck of Omens by C.L. Herman, Wish of the Wicked by Danielle Page, Through the White Wood by Jessica Leek, Geekorella by Ashley Poston, That Inevitable Victorian Thing by E.K. Johnston, We Are the Wildcats by Siobhan Vivian, A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy I. Lin, 1,000 Nights by E.K. Johnston, Blood Heir by Amelie Wenjiao, Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian, Save the Date by Morgan Matson, The Brothers Hawthorne by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, Grim Lovelies by Megan Shepard, The Field Guide to the North American Teenager by Ben Philippe, The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab, Turtles All the Way Down by John Green, Sadie by Courtney Summers, Royce Rolls by Margaret Stoll, and The Atlas Six by Olivia Blake. Next, I have my contemporary and romance books, as well as my unread Agatha Christie collection. I have quite a few items on this shelf as well. I have that stuffed bird on top of that mug. Then I also have a Lulu, the pug, and Ducky plushie. I have a stuffed hedgehog, and then I also have that card. I have 2 candles, the first being this Through the Wardrobe candle, and the second being this Captain Alosa candle. As for the books, I have Eggnog Murder by Leslie Meyer, Lee Hollis, and Barbara Ross, The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, The 12 Dates of Christmas by Jenny Bayliss, The Tourist Attraction by Sarah Morgenthaler, A Dog's Purpose by W. Bruce Cameron, Fox and I by Catherine Raven, Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren, Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutanto, A Man Called Ova by Frederick Bachman, Dating You, Hating You by Christina Lauren, Autobiography by Christina Lauren, The Wedding Party by Jasmine Guillory, The Jet Setters by Amanda Eyre Ward, Meet Cute by Helena Hunting, Summer Reading by Jen McKinley, The Map of Salt and Stars by Zane Jukadar, Challenger Deep by Neil Shusterman, Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Q. Sutanto, The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa, Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh, and then I also have A Murder is Announced, Evil Under the Sun, At Bertram's Hotel, The ABC Murders, The Murder at the Vicarage, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, The Mystery of the Blue Train, The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side, The Pale Horse, Poirot Investigates, and The Hollow, all by Agatha Christie. Next, I have a historical fiction and fantasy shelf. I have these 3 candles, which are all by the same company, but they are named after different authors, so I have Oscar Wilde, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and John Steinbeck. Then I have this Warding candle, which is inspired by the Bone Season series, and I plan on moving this upstairs when I get the anniversary editions of the Bone Season. Then I have 2 stuffed animals and a mug, which holds all of my bookmarks. As for the books, I have Circe by Madeline Miller, The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro, The Librarian of Auschwitz by Antonio Iturbe, The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton, Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, All That Glitters by Gita Trelease, Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel, The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna, The Witch and the Tsar by Olesia Salnikova-Gilmore, The Virgin's Lover, The Other Boleyn Girl, and The Queen's Fool, all by Philippa Gregory, Tell the Wolves I'm Home by Carol Rivka Brunt, The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak, The Beautiful Ones by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, The Snow Child by Owen Ivy, East by Edith Patu, Dawn of Spies by Michael Lane, The Miniaturist by Jesse Burton, Homefront and Night Road by Kristen Hanna, Uprooted and Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, Winter Song by S.J. Jones, The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Coel, The Killing Moon by N.K. Jemisin, and A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Okay, next I have, a real mishmash of different books, and I do have a few items on this shelf. I have this Babylon candle, then I have that stuffed fish, which I've had since childhood, and then 3 lavender pillows. Starting off, I have The Windsor Knot by S.J. Bennett, The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware, One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus, The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, which I have read, but it's in a box set, so I'm not going to move this upstairs until I've read the whole series, but I have, as I said, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and then also Days of Blood and Starlight and Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor, The Book Thief by Mechild Glazier, The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman, Unhooked by Lisa Maxwell, The Winter Duke by Claire Eliza Bartlett, The Demon King by Cinda Williams-Chima, The Shadow Queen by C.J. Redwine, Dorothy Must Die, The Wicked Will Rise, Yellow Brick War and the End of Oz by Danielle Page, Wicked Like a Wildfire by Lana Popovic, The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, Life After Life by Kate Atkinson, Frontlines by Michael Grant, The Sisters of the Winter Wood by Rena Rossner, and The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein. Okay, and lastly, I'm sorry for the terrible angle, I have my, tall fantasy hardbacks, and I do have a few candles, that stuffed sheep, and then that box, which I've also had forever, but I don't know what its purpose is. For the books, I have Crown of Feathers by Nikki Powell Preto, House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas, A Clash of Kings and a Storm of Swords by George R. R. Martin, High Fire by Owen Colfer, Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, Aragon by Christopher Paolini, An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson, Bravely by Maggie Seawater, Want by Cindy Pon, There Will Come a Darkness by Katie Rose Poole, The Dark Days Club by Allison Goodman, Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong, Daughter of the Burning City by Amanda Foody, Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, Better Together by Christine Riccio, and From Unseen Fire by Cass Morris. Next, I have my Harry Potter and Land of Stories shelves. These have not changed at all, but yeah, I just wanted to show them. And then I also do have The Last of the Really Great Winged Doodles by Julie Andrews Edwards. Then I have the first half of my classics shelf, which has not changed, and then the second half of my classics shelf. The first half is more like adult classics, and these are children's, and then also some mythological classics. This shelf houses some of my middle grade series, so I have like Rick Riordan here. I have some of his Rick Riordan Presents books. I have School for Good and Evil. I have 2 copies of the first 2 books in that series because I think 2 I got at the Scholastic Book Fair and then I accidentally bought them again later. I have the Grace Lynn books, but yeah, this one has not changed much either. Then I have the first of my 2 ARC shelves, which have not changed. And then this is the second ARC shelf. Then second to last, I have some of my favorite middle grade books or books from childhood. So I have like the Wrinkle in Time series, Chronicles of Narnia, Guardians of Gahuli, and then my Catherine Applegate books. And then I also have my poetry collection and my graphic novels. So that is it for my 2024 bookshelf tour. I just realized that rhymes, but anyway, I had a lot of fun kind of going through all of my shelves and showing you my updated collection and also like some new organization now that I have an entire additional shelf that I did not have last year. So yeah, it was really fun, and I do love filming these every year, so I hope to do it again next year. But that is it for this video. I really hope you all enjoyed. All of my social media links are in the description box below, and I'll see you soon for a new video. Bye!